Out of all the parks I visited in Europe, easily my most anticipated was located in Brühl, Germany. It is called Fantasia Land. I've also heard it pronounced Phantasialand. And this is a smaller park, only about 69 acres, but this place packs in so much. It is absolutely incredible. And I would say it lived up to the hype. Definitely one of my favorites in Europe, if not my favorite in Europe. And I think the reason for that is that this place has some of the best theming in the world. And they're very purposeful with how they build their rides because they are tight on space. And so therefore, they really care about the attractions they put in, and they make sure that each of the rides that they have are the best they possibly can be. And if there's a ride there that isn't that great, it's probably because it's older and it probably won't be around that much longer anyways. But we'll get to Temple of the Nighthawk later. The specific land that most people think of when they talk about Phantasialand is going to be Klugheim. This is where you're going to find Terran. It is medieval theming, and this is absolutely amazing. Everywhere you look, there's something to see. This single section alone has got to be in like the top 3 for greatest theme park lands ever built. Right up there with like Pandora and Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And a lot of that is because you have Terran. You don't know which way this coaster is going. It winds all throughout here. It is crazy. Everywhere you look, there's track. Everything is intertwined. And that also goes for their smaller family boomerang coaster, Reich. But even aside from the roller coasters, the level of detail in this land is phenomenal. You have incredible rockwork and building that looks like it was built in the Dark Ages, like in the time of knights and castles. And in addition to it being gorgeous, it is very clean and well kept. I was absolutely floored by this land. I wanted to spend all day here. But that is not the only incredible land at Phantasialand. Next, I want to discuss Africa because this area is super immersive. Everything feels like a small village. As you go from one area to the next, you immediately can tell what area of the park you're in. All of the architecture is easily identifiable. So you know you're in Mexico or Asia or Africa. It's really impressive. And if there wasn't roller coaster track running everywhere from Black Mamba, you would probably think that you step back in time and you're on another continent. I will say I do wish this area were a bit bigger. Actually, I just wish this whole park were bigger. Like, it is so cool that I just wish there was more of it. In case you didn't know, one of the things that makes Phantasialand unique is that they can't really build their rides super tall. And so, like Alton Towers, instead they build down so they can build up. So a lot of this park is made up with trenches and stairs. It's all terrain. So as you're walking around, be prepared that you're probably going to be going uphill or downhill or lots of stairs. All that being said, though, it probably doesn't take more than 5 minutes to walk from one side of the park to another. So I would say Klugheim, first favorite area of the park. Africa, second favorite. Next favorite would probably be Mexico. This themed land isn't anchored by a roller coaster, but instead a water ride. It is Chiapas. It is widely considered one of the best log flumes in the world, if not the best. It also has the steepest drop on a log flume. So of course I had to ride this thing. And while the restraints were a little weird, and the ride wasn't what I expected because I did not know what this ride layout was like. I didn't know about any of its special features, so spoiler alert, skip ahead like 20 seconds if you don't want to know about Chiapas. But I was not expecting it to go backwards, have it transfer tracks. It was amazing, especially like the disco party monkey scene. I was like, what the heck is this? But it was lit. I liked it. That being said, I'm not sure it's my favorite log flume, but it is easily one of the best in the world. And that all goes back to what I was talking about with each of their attractions is fantastic. And they all intertwine with each other. So Chiapas interacts with Colorado Adventure. This is easily the best mine train in the world. It is amazing. You have in the dark sections. It is smooth. It is a long ride. I got off that thing and I was like, I have to ride that again. It was so much fun. I never say that with mine trains. Unfortunately though, because of time constraints, I was not able to ride it again. If you haven't been to the parks in Europe, then you should probably be made aware that a lot of them close early. I believe Phantasialand closed at 5 or 6 o'clock that day, and it was really sad leaving this place because more so than any other park in Europe, I wish so bad that I had a second day at Phantasialand, which was something I always wanted from the beginning, but I think I felt pressured to only do one day so that we could include more parks, and because I had heard that Phantasialand was not that big, so I assumed I could probably do everything in one day. Yeah, we were able to do everything, but I still feel like I could have easily spent a second day here and still had so much fun. There were a few attractions I didn't get around to, like I know that they have a fun walkthrough attraction. I did not do that. Now, I did get around to doing the dark ride Masa Chocolat, which I will say, that dark ride was cool. It's a shooting dark ride in the style of Toy Story Mania, but it was too long. It just like kept on going, and I was like, okay, I get that Phantasialand, they really like long rides here, and they like making them super well done, which I thought Masa Chocolat was well done, but it was too long. I was like, okay, how long is the shooting ride where we're like shooting these chocolate mice or something? So that was a little strange, but it was neat. Still glad I did it. I think one of the neat things about Phantasialand is they have some rides that you just wouldn't expect. I didn't even know about some of the attractions here going into it. Like, I didn't even know that they had a river raft ride or that it had a vertical elevator lift. That was also one of the attractions that I didn't do just because I never do river raft rides. The only one I've done in the past 5 years has been Infinity Falls, and if I had known that River Quest was so cool, I would have done it then. Unfortunately, after I left, people were like, man, that's probably the best river rafting ride that they've ever done. I'm like, well, dang it, I missed out. So again, it all goes back to, I wish that I had a second day here. And maybe that's also partially because Phantasialand does have on-site resorts. So if you stay at one of their on-site hotels, you can attend ERT after the park closes. We were kicked out of Phantasialand early because we didn't stay on site, and so we didn't get to take part in the Terran ERT, which made me very sad because I would have loved that. But one thing that I was glad about was that Terran had a single rider line, so I was able to get more rides in on it. I think it was nice that Phantasialand incorporated some of those. That's always a nice touch. But let's talk about a few other attractions that I would consider like really well done. The tallest ride in the park is an intimate indoor drop tower. It is called Mystery Castle. I knew nothing about this attraction. I knew they had an indoor drop tower. That was it. I knew nothing else. So again, there's going to be some spoilers for this if you're visiting Phantasialand soon and you want to be surprised. Skip ahead like 30 seconds. So Mystery Castle has scare actors in the queue line, which I had no idea about. It scared the living daylights out of me. I was just walking through like observing everything, and then it was like, holy crap, totally caught me off guard, and everything was just really well themed. The odd thing was, though, that it's an intimate drop tower. However, it acted more like an S&S drop tower because it shoots you up to the top and kind of does more bouncing. So it didn't even feel like an intimate drop tower, but it was still super cool. I really liked the show they did in it with all the lightning and all the special effects that they had at the top before you drop. And I was also told that there were multiple settings on this attraction. We only rode it once. I'm not quite sure which version we got, but I liked it. I kind of wish it was a bit longer. The cycle was a little short, but it's still really enjoyable. Next thing that's really well done that I loved, this ride blew me away, it's Winjas. This is a pair of dueling spinning coasters, completely indoors, and man, do you get some serious spin on these attractions. And they have some special features. So, like a lot of the attractions I'm talking about, if you don't want spoilers for this, skip ahead 30 seconds because holy crap, I did not know about the ending for Winjas. Actually, I didn't even know about the beginning for Winjas. I had no idea that it had an elevator lift and that it like tilts you forward, and I was like, what the heck is this? And then at the end with the bounce track, that was insane. It was so crazy. And then the tilting, because there's two different versions. So you have Fear and Force. So they just tilt you in two different ways. One tilts you to the side, one tilts you like a seesaw. These things were insane. I had no clue about it, so I'm riding this thing. It scared me to death. Doing the little bounce thing, I got off and I was completely in shock. So Winjas, probably the best free spinning roller coaster I've ever ridden. And I only say free spinning because I think Time Traveler is my favorite spinning coaster. But Winjas, do not skip these rides. So we've talked about some amazing rides. Let's talk about one that wasn't so amazing, Temple of the Nighthawk. There's basically no theming here. It used to be space themed, but since that, they just kind of ditched everything. So it's just a pitch black roller coaster. It's way too long. I think there's like 4 lift hills. It just kept going. The train's really long. I didn't really get the point of why it was even here. So in my opinion, if Phantasialand is looking for space to build a super cool attraction once they are done with Fly in Rookburg, tear down Temple of the Nighthawk, put your next attraction over there in that spot. Because it did take up a decent amount of space. Speaking of Rookburg, we could see a little bit of the construction from the park. We could see some of the track for Fly. So that was neat, but not much. All I know is that the new area that they're building is going to be kind of steampunk themed. It looks really neat. This is something that is absolutely making me want to go back to Phantasialand. I can almost guarantee whenever the next time I go to Europe, Phantasialand is absolutely one of the parks that I would visit again. Because Rookburg, I was told, is going to be even more so themed than Klugheim, which I didn't even know was possible. It just looks way too cool. Plus, I want to get back on Terran again. So yes, Phantasialand is absolutely a park that you will want to go back to. And I think next time I go back, I'd want to stay at one of the on-site resorts. Just because the hotels look so cool. It's literally like right next to the front entrance. Which I want to mention, the front entrance really threw me off for a bit. Because as we were pulling up to the park, we parked in a parking lot. And we were walking over to this gate. And I'm like, this has got to be some sort of side entrance. Because it was really small. It was kind of ugly. And so I was like, this can't be Phantasialand's front entrance. It was. So that really caught me off guard. I was not expecting that. But you walk in, you kind of start off with that International Street kind of look, but the view is blocked actually because of their double-decker carousel. And all of that is while that main gate is right next to a road. So it's not a grand entrance, it's not a big grand reveal. There's not even a front sign over the gate saying Phantasialand. You walk through the entrance, you're on the second floor, so you have to go down some stairs. And it's just this cute little International Street. Once Rookburg opens to your left, that is where that entrance to that land will be. But you walk down to the end of your main street. You have your swings, which has this water effect going all the way around it. I guess that's kind of your centerpiece to the park because you have this nice wide plaza all around you. Some flowers, some water. It looks nice. That being said, it's not like the most grand of entrances. I think what Phantasialand does really well is immersing you in specific areas. They're not really trying to show off. They don't have a big wow factor like King's Dominion and King's Island. You have this giant Eiffel Tower. Or Alton Towers, you walk in and boom, there's the towers. Like these are the kind of things that everyone wants to take pictures of. It's just there for show. It's something iconic. Phantasialand doesn't really have something like that. Instead, you just get in the themed areas and you're just floored. You're looking all around you. And you like all of it. All of it looks good. If you want something that looks really good, walk over to your African theme section and find Talocan. This is the coolest ride ever. It feels like a show, but it's a ride. Like when the sequence ended, I wanted to clap. I felt like clapping. I was like, that was incredible. I just watched it for a second. I was like, my mouth was hanging open. I was like, this is the coolest flat ride in the world. And I still stand by that statement. Top spins have never been my favorite, but gosh darn it, I was like, I have to ride this thing. This looks unbelievable. The theming, the fire, the water, the location that it is in. You get this great overlook up on the second level, so you have to go down a floor to your entrance. That's where you board. It is amazing. They have this dramatic music and voice talking to you in this like ritual. I don't know what he was saying, but man, it was something else. So that's another attraction that you do not want to skip out on. Another area I haven't really talked about too much is they have this kind of Japan Asian section where you have some of those ancient temple-like buildings. It feels like a kind of market-like street. And I'll be real, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in this area. I think it goes back to, I wish I had a second day. I wish that I could have spent more time just exploring and just wandering around. I think I was so focused on doing all of these amazing attractions that I wish I had more time to observe all of the small details in each of these themed areas of Phantasialand. I did have one meal here while I was at the park. It was over on the African side of the park. It was pretty much a cafeteria style setup. You just grab a tray, go down the line, pick out what you want. And it was pretty good. I believe I had some kind of pasta. And I remember it being good, but it didn't like blow me away. And maybe that was just because of the one area that we picked. I thought it was good though. I wouldn't say Phantasialand does anything bad by any means. I think this is hands down one of the best parks in the world. It's so different. Like, this is not what you expect when you go to a theme park. This literally puts the theme in theme park. There's so much immersion. Everything is clean, nice employees, fast operations. There's literally so much to love about this park, which is why I cannot recommend this place enough. If you are a theme park fan, at some point in your life, you should come here. And you know, I said this with the Europa Park review, and I'm going to say it again here. Even if you aren't huge into theme parks, if you find yourself in that part of the world, you should try and visit Phantasialand because I think they really do have something for everyone. That even if you aren't big into roller coasters, you could really have a good time here. There's so much to see and look at. There's some mild attractions. There's a few shows. There's plenty of food options. This park truly is remarkable. They said, let's not go for the tallest, the fastest, or the longest. Let's just build quality attractions, something that is a good ride that you will walk away from saying, that was awesome, I want to go again. Because pretty much every ride here at Phantasialand, you'll get off and say that exact thing. I just liked being here. Even when I wasn't riding a ride, just walking around, taking in the scenery and the atmosphere. It was a blast. I didn't want to leave. I was genuinely sad when I walked out because I love this place so much, and it pains me that it's on the other side of the world from where I live, so I won't be able to go as often as I want to. Phantasialand proves that restrictions such as a height limit don't have to be a limiting factor for you. It doesn't have to hinder your ability to do good attractions. The park doesn't have a lot of space. They can't build super high, yet allows them to think outside the box and go above and beyond. And I think all theme parks should keep that in mind, whether they have restrictions or not, to try and do that same thing, go above and beyond. So, do I recommend Phantasialand? I think I would be crazy to say no. 1,000% yes. But of course, I want to hear your guys' opinion. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree with me and my thoughts, whether you've been before or maybe this review helped you decide that you want to go. You can let me know all that down in the comments below. Of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. You can check out an entire park playlist that I have, filled with more reviews from theme parks and amusement parks around the world, organized in alphabetical order by the park's name. So be sure to check that out, and I'll catch you guys next time.